Welcome to Sports Sushi. Your chefs for tonight are Sports Plug Russ, serving up the spiciest sports takes of the week. Sterling Furrow, rolling the X's and O's into an analytical maki platter. And finally, the moderator who always keeps the sake flowing, DJ Slow Boogie. Now grab those chopsticks and get ready, because your order of fresh and raw sports sushi is up. All right, I'm sitting in for Boogie tonight.
Yes, welcome to the sushi. Pull up your bar stool, get your sake. You know what I'm talking about? The sports drink.
Sterling will be joining us a little bit late. He's doing double duty. We're going to be talking a lot about the NFL draft tonight. I want to give a shout out, Russ, right off the top. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I thought we had a great turnout, and the people that came and joined and helped out do the picks last week.
For sure, to everybody that joined in, everybody that's back watching again, thank you. Help grow the show, and that was fun. And hopefully we can make that something annual, and hopefully as the show grows, we can have prizes attached to it.
So Boogie's out sick, and apparently he's going to spend the time coughing and heckling us from.
Yes. Sick. Anyway, the Boogie, you just out here patronizing us, from the little comment section. But we see you. And if you want to take a bong rip, you go
ahead. If you're drinking or smoking at home, every time I say "so tonight" might be a good time to hit. He's just gonna keep hitting us with the comments, throwing me off here. All right. So hey, Russ, do you know we got? I just went through it before we got on the show here. There was one pick that I would say is not one of the obvious first two picks of the draft that Sports Sushi got right. Do you know what pick that was, Russ?
No, I do not off the top of my head. But hey, what happened?
Yo, what's up?
I was literally looking like away, and it popped up, and I saw Sterling's face, like when the computer had you froze, and you was like, Russell, come on, let's get through this. Now, no, who was it though? I felt like, well, since you gave me the floor, I do feel like Joe, the Steeler, who came in, he could not hear us, but he gave a great breakdown of Joey Porter Jr. And even though in our draft he was picked, that is how it turned out in real life. So I give a shout out to him. I'll say the Paris Johnson pick was a good one by yours truly. Just the fact that just saying that he was going to go to the Cardinals. Sterling had a couple, but what were they?
All right. Well, let me ask Sterling. Sterling, do you know which pick it was?
What?
So there was, aside from the two quarterbacks that went 1 and 2, there was one pick after that Sports Sushi got right, and it was actually a pretty impressive one to get correct. Do you know which one that was?
Anthony Richards to the Colts.
Anthony Richards of the Colts. It was, and you were opposed to that pick, and Russ and I just watched it back earlier to make sure I was show prepped here. Russ and Boogie had to convince you to make the call.
You know what? I think that was one that Sterling. I was so sure about it, just crossed my mind because I didn't think that was a thought. I didn't think it was like a thought of not to do it. I just like Sterling preaches potential. And about the draft and how much, not so much that it's the most like the determining factor, but you always were saying like potential is what these GMs want. Like this is what they look for, and that guy just oozes it. It's just too much it's like, yo, if you can, and what do they say, Sterling? If you can see it on tape, you can replicate it. Even though I don't necessarily believe that. I believe in Anthony Richardson, but I don't necessarily believe that. But that's how they think. So.
Let's not get too deep into the analysis. We're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show. Cool. First, let's start off. Guys, do you have a favorite sports moment from the week? Sterling, anything? What was your favorite sports moment from this week?
Oh man, the Lakers beating the Grizzlies, getting them boys up out of there. That was my favorite sports moment, man. And the fact that they told Dylan Brooks that he ain't coming back to the squad, I'm good.
I don't like to kick a man when he's down, but the Grizzlies do. Shit, you know what I mean? I think that was a moment that'll go down. It's just, hey man, I call it a gotcha you talk too much moment. My favorite moment from the week. I'm gonna have to say you can call me a homer, but it was Deuce Vaughn getting signed. Getting drafted by the
Oh, that
Cowboys
was
and his
good.
dad getting to make the call. That was dope. As an Oklahoma fan, I'm glad I can finally root for him from him.
I
Dog
saw it on
us
Twitter. That was pretty cool.
years and years. I do have a least, you know what I'm saying, favorite thing. Not really. Let's just move on from that. We're not gonna talk about it.
All right, my favorite. My favorite thing from the week, it's always a good week when a Boston team loses, especially in the playoffs.
Oh, Bruins, please say.
Oh yeah. I know you guys don't do a lot of
Yes.
hockey here, but when you get the best all-time regular season and then you choke it away in the playoffs in the first
Chris.
round,
Chris.
Yeah.
I love and the fact that the Stars, even though the Stars lost last night, mere bag of shells. Don't worry about it. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. The green and gold is gonna make it happen. Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? But Chris, that was lovely. That was lovely because the worst fans in America are Boston fans.
Well,
Facts.
You know what's worse than Boston
Buffalo fans sometimes can be right behind them on
No.
that. And here's the reason I'm saying that, because a bunch of Sabres fans were all happy that we missed the playoffs by 1 point, literally to the Florida Panthers, who upset the Bruins, because that loser mentality was seeping in again. Like, whoa, we didn't want to make the playoffs anyway. The Bruins were going to kick our ass. They were going to steamroll us. We were better than the Panthers. We could have just as easily beat the Bruins, and you never know what happens in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's what's so great about them.
Yeah, that's true. But then you had to play the Stars. I think the Stars gonna win this thing in 6. They ain't messing with us. The Kraken.
We're done with the opener here. The last word is his foot was in the crease. Russ, this day in sports. Tell us what you got.
All right, so on this day in sports, you could say the steamboat got to rolling. 2018 Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan becomes the NFL's first $30 million per season player after agreeing to a $150 million contract. Just in perspective, real quick before we move on, I like to give a little, so the year after that, that's when you saw Russell Wilson get 35 million. You saw Ben Roethlisberger get 34. You saw Aaron Rodgers get 33.5. You saw Jared Goff get 33.5, and then you saw Carson Wentz get 32. So that's when shit kind of got out of hand. 2018. That's what I got for you guys. You learn a little something every day. This day in sports.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. We're going to dive right into our first subject here of the night, which is winners and losers from the NFL draft. We touched on this just a little bit here. So, Sterling, I want you to go first. Tell us who you got as your top 3 winners coming out of this draft. Doesn't even have to be a team. Could be a player. Could be a franchise. Just what?
Yeah, I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals and picking up the Houston Texans first overall pick next year, or first round draft pick, because the Texans aren't going to be that good. You got Kyler Murray's out, so you're potentially going to have 2 top 5 picks. You can get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. if you want, or you can go defense. So I thought they were a winner, and I'm going to say the Lions were a winner. You take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. I think it's a head scratcher. Good move, good decision in the long run. And then you get Jack Campbell late. I felt like they compounded on that and they kept selecting really good players after that. So I'm going to say that the Lions are that. And then, I would say the best fit is Jalen Carter to the Eagles. I mean, does that defensive line get any better? Like, how does that happen? So those are those are my
and Nolan. Fucking Eagles, man.
Right.
It's like they're the guy on Madden that just always has picks. Mine, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for rebuilding their entire roster off of one trade in 2 years.
Okay.
Witherspoon, great pick. Jackson Smith and Jigba, another great pick. I'm also gonna say I really liked what the Ravens did, because y'all always hear me preach about doing stuff for your quarterback. So I love getting Zay Flowers. I love the fact you signed your guy. So that's I like what the Cowboys did too. I can't lie. There's some issues I do have with the second pick of that tight end, but overall, I will say I love the Seahawks draft. I think Broncos, you got to win something. I don't know what it is, but you got to win something. Take home a paper trophy. Something has got to be got. Have y'all seen the list of people from the 2 years that they have filled their team with?
No, but just off the wide receivers alone,
every player, let me see if I can look it up real quick. Just give me a second, Chris. Every player is nice. Like all of them. They do not have one draft pick that they got from that is not nice. Let me see.
Well, I think out of any team coming into this season, there's no excuses time for Denver.
Charles Cross, Kenneth Walker, Abraham Lucas, Tyreek Woolen, Devon Witherspoon, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And the Broncos got
Russell Wilson and some lineman, right, 6th-round lineman or something like that.
Let's fucking ride, baby. That's what he meant. That's what he meant. Just ride. But yeah, that's crazy.
Russ, tell us as Bills fans your side of the Cowboys Bills controversy from round one. Did you have your heart set on?
No
big deal. How did you see it?
Me personally, I didn't start. I was tweeting you during that. I did not care about Dalton Kincaid getting picked first. I think he's going to be a great player. We covered him, but I didn't think he was the type of tight end that the Cowboys would need with the way that we play offense. So I thought that Michael Mayer was going to be the pick, and then I was hoping that it was Darnell Washington. I did not know at the time, which my bad. I did not know he had knee issues, and he failed the physical, so that's what got him out of there. Even though I think he's still going to be a beast for the Steelers. Watch out. But I didn't have a problem with Mozzie. I thought y'all did a great job going up and getting the guy because I do believe. Actually, I don't know. I don't think we would have picked Kincaid. I think the way that they picked lets you know that they were going to pick Mozzie in the way that they're high-fiving each other. They feel like they fleeced the world, and they kind of did. So I wasn't mad about it. I guess because the player they picked is a huge need, and he's actually pretty good. I was more disappointed in the tight end pick. I thought that could have been. I mean, if you're going to pick a guy nobody fucking knows, pick the guy with the bad knee. I mean, at least we know who Darnell is. You know what I'm saying?
So, Sterling, who do you have as the biggest loser coming out of the draft?
The biggest loser? Dang. That's a tough one.
No fucking picks.
Man, that's a tough one. Biggest loser. The Broncos up there. I feel like the Raiders could have done a much better job. I feel like, to me, it felt like they didn't really have a solid plan. I felt like the Packers drafting Lucas Van Ness at 10. I felt like they had other needs. I felt like if you're got a young quarterback, you need to go get him weapons. I felt like Jackson Smith and Jigba or Dalton Kincaid would have been a better selection there. So those are my losers, man.
Big moment in your lives. Your dad slaps your girl's ass. You cool with it? Is it good or
what?
They're
who did that?
I forgot who did that.
That was Luke Van Ness with the Packers.
Right, that's right.
Oh,
yes,
and it was a couple pats. It was a tight.
Oh yeah,
bang 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 bang.
Nobody's dad is tweaking. But some people are weird like that. But his dad's tweaking.
So
that's one of those, honey. That's one of those in the bed with his wife, honey.
Your dad does that to your girl. What's your reaction?
He's not gonna do that.
Yeah, dog.
Because he knows. Like I highly doubt that Sterling. You probably say this too, Chris. My dad's not gonna do that because he knows the reaction, so he's not gonna do. Like that's like when you ask somebody that question, that's like asking them the question back at them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so what would you do if your dad did this? What would he do if I did it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is any man gonna do?
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Like that's cringe. It's pause worthy. It's super pause.
It's just the way that it happened was really like it was like he done it before, kind of.
Yeah. And why do you think that's okay?
How do you not know the camera's right down there?
He knew.
And his wife, like, you cool with that?
Boogie from the couch says, "Dad's a Chad."
Bro, he's the Riz God. Lucas Van Ness's dad is the Riz God.
He might be. And if he is, Mr. Van Ness.
So aside from Luke Van Ness's dad, who else had the biggest reaches of the draft? How's that for a fucking segue?
Ooh, I like it.
I would say
well, it would have to be the Lions, right? Like you didn't have to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
I hate that, but I think by the way
I got them on my little special dimension here list as host.
By the way that the draft is graded and what you're trying to do in the draft, you are correct. Because even though I believe that those players that they got, they just went and picked the guys that they wanted. I do think that they would have possibly been the people
Okay.
that were reaching, but I think they got the people that they wanted. So it's kind of like, you know,
So knowing
like
that knowing that they traded DeAndre Swift right after, do
Mhm.
you think that pick now, in hindsight, is more DeAndre Swift is an asshole, so let's just get him out of here and replace him pick? Or do you think it was, well, we didn't think we'd get this guy, so now that we do, we got rid of DeAndre Swift? Which is more likely in your guys' opinion?
I.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Sterling. You can go first.
well, DeAndre Swift is never healthy, right? So it's like they felt like they had a. We got to keep in mind that the Lions, they want to ground and pound, so they want to run the football.
Yeah,
They want to play good defense and beat you to a bloody pulp. So they want to run the football. So they went and got their guy. That was like their thing, right? So they got Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're like, you know what? While we have him, you got to go, DeAndre Swift, because you're never
yeah.
healthy. I like you as a player, but you're just never available. So I need somebody who's available. Because if we look at their offense, they had one of the top 5 offenses in the league. I think they were top 3. However, you saw a big difference when DeAndre Swift wasn't in the game, right? They just really didn't have much at running back outside of Jamal Williams. So getting a guy, getting a guy like that, I think that really does help them a ton because Jahmyr Gibbs is a baller.
You know who the
Yeah,
biggest winner of the Jahmyr Gibbs pick is?
who? Jimmy Gibbs?
No, the Atlanta Falcons, because everybody freaking ignores the fact that these assholes drafted a running back in the top 9, and everyone's laughing at the guys that drafted the second best running back in the top 15.
See,
I
I
like the pick for the Falcons, though.
I do too. I just think it's one of those picks that lets me say what you worry about when picking a running back that high is that will you waste his best years because your team's not that good? But as far as like the pick and what he can do for the Falcons, no, Arthur Smith runs that ball. He had a receiver back there. I know Cordell Patterson is nice, but he's like, just give me someone that's gonna run it. So I think only thing I think is wrong about the Bijan Robinson thing is that he's wearing number 7. And I think it's about time we stop being disrespectful. And nobody can wear the number 7 in Atlanta. Like you can't. Sorry, you shouldn't be able to. Shouldn't
It's
happen.
just there's never going to be enough value from the 5 years you're going to get out of the running back to draft them that high for the impact you would get from another great player drafted that high, plus the additional second contract that they would inevitably get to justify the running back. There's
I,
nothing.
that's the thing about drafting running backs high. Like if you had like an injury to a main player and you lost a lot of games and you ended up picking high, like
Right.
or you had made trades like the Eagles did or something like that, then that's when you pick a running back high because you're not going to waste his carries. Like he's going to be dynamic for the Falcons. He's going to be a fantasy beast. He's going to be someone that we look at and go, man, he's an awesome player. But it's just that by the time the Falcons get their team built, he might be like Zeke. Like Zeke is
Yeah.
the poster boy for that. Like you drafted him, you pretty much wasted his carries, bullshitting around with building around the quarterback instead of just getting what he needed so they can win right now with the running back you had. And now you want to cut him. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's a double-edged sword. You're gonna get a great player, but now you have to accelerate your building process. Like you said, it's really like 3 years, bro. Like, and he had a high usage rate at Texas, so like, yeah, they're gonna have to get it in. But I do like the pick because he is going to be, he's going to be a good player for them. He's going to do his
So,
job.
who, in your opinion, is the biggest steal of the draft, and why is it Osiris Torrance?
The biggest steal of the draft.
You think it's Osiris?
Oh, I definitely think that's one of the top probably 2 or 3 steals in the
Yeah,
draft.
no, I think
There's a
value wise,
couple.
I think it was great. I mean, I would say I would have to put Nolan Smith up there. The value you get there, and then Tennessee getting Will Levis in the second round. I think that's extreme value. I mean, you get a quarterback that's going to start in the second round who was supposed to go round 1. Hey, you can't beat that. That's pretty damn good.
Why did he fall?
Why did he fall? I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't heard from anybody in those circles to say why he fell, but I am trying to figure that out. So I don't know why he fell, to be honest.
Russ, any hunches?
I have no idea, but I got 2. I think Jordan Addison is a sneaky good pick because you have Jettas on the other side, and I think they're going to be a matchup nightmare. And in games to come. The second one, fuck it, don't even worry about it. I can't even remember the second one off the top of my head, but I had a couple that were kind of. Oh, I'm sorry, Joey Porter Jr. going in the second round.
Yeah, that's a perfect spot for him to land.
Yeah,
You
that was
gotta
dope.
love that story.
The Steelers got that's crazy. They got him. You know what I'm saying? His daddy played for him, but then they got Darnell Washington. The Steelers always fucking.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a pretty big winner from the past week, right? He got his trade done to the Jets. Will fell all the way to the second round. So he fell so bad. Rodgers had to call him in the green room and say, "It's gonna be okay, bro." But he's now the poster child for it. Aaron's finally gotten bumped off. No one's gonna be talking about that anymore. It's
I'm
always
not
gonna
gonna
be
lie.
Will.
Aaron got drafted to an organization that we're used to doing good things. Tennessee Titans ain't done nothing that we really care about since we're not going to talk about the miracle, but since the Super Bowl when they met, well, that was the year that they made the Super Bowl. Sorry, Chris, but they really ain't been hot like that since the miracle and what was it called? Never mind, we're not gonna go over it. I'm sorry. I really do apologize. I don't. I do. I do. You know, I really wasn't even thinking about who they did it against, and I said, oh shit. I said, damn, my bad. But nah, like so. I don't know. I think that Will Levis has a chance to be good, but I don't know if Tennessee. I don't know. I gotta see. We gotta see what Tennessee does because I'll wait. I'll wait and see. I don't think that's a bad pick, but I want to see what Tennessee does, and it looks like they're completely rebuilding. So I'm gonna let them do their work.
Yeah, I think it's time for them to rebuild. I mean, they've written that roster of all those veterans for a long time. You saw them getting rid of offensive linemen. You know, not Travis. Derrick Henry has been, on the trade block, and Malik Willis, for instance. They drafted him in the third round last year, and it sounds like they're ready to move on from him because they just didn't like what he was able to show in his little 1 year that he had. So I gotta applaud them for this because you see the organizations like the Broncos who still haven't figured this out yet, right? They're still trying to do the Peyton Manning thing, and I just think that ship has sailed, and we'll see what happens with Russell Wilson. So, I can't hate too much on the Tennessee Titans.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
If the Titans are gonna rebuild it, they're gonna start out with a new quarterback, and they're gonna start getting rid of the old guys.
Yeah,
I mean, how much is Vrabel bringing you? That do you clean the house, or do you think you got something there?
I think Vrabel's a great coach. I just think that they just have to build it the way that he wants. That may be what they're doing, but I think that some guys are good at their job, but like they have to. Well, a lot of not some guys. Most guys got to be in sync with the GM. Like you got to get the guys Vrabel wants, and it'll work. But if you don't, then it won't. Like I feel like he's done a lot with the team that should have better players. To be honest, you know what I'm saying? Like that Tennessee team is always competing. But when you look at the roster, it's not a team you want to play with on Madden. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like the Titans is the only thing about them that's really dope is Derrick Henry, the couple players on their defense in their jersey.
How close are we to a hopeless middle class in the AFC?
What do you mean?
I mean, you're already going to have 2 or 3 unbelievable quarterbacks that aren't going to make the playoffs just off of numbers alone.
Right.
Now imagine having a second tier quarterback but a good team. Like 10 through 14 is basically hopeless for indefinitely.
Well, I think that we have to really pay attention to the fact that you cannot have the better quarterback, but you can build the better team. And I think that's one thing in football that's being lost. Like when a lot of people talk about teams matching up and how to beat someone, oh, they got the quarterback. Like, okay, go get you some defenders, go build you a football team. One guy, this is not basketball. So I believe that there's a lot of these good quarterbacks floating around, but the guys that get synchronized with their teams and are able to put together the most wins, you know what I'm saying, and build a cohesive unit going towards the playoffs are going to be the ones that are successful. I mean, I know that's like a duh statement, but I don't know. I think in the NFL especially, like having a bunch of good players, especially in the NFL, doesn't mean shit until you perform. Because there's so much parity. There's so many young guys that come out the gates running, but I don't think it's gonna be a middle class thing. I just think it's gonna be a lot of tough competition. We're really gonna see who can carry a team, not just who can play quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't see a clear path to being a contender coming out of the AFC anytime soon if you're not one of these 7 or 8 teams that have an elite quarterback right now.
Like, okay,
Sterling?
look,
What are you asking?
If you're
Oh,
okay,
you mean like the middle class thing in the
if you have
AFC?
no,
Tua,
I mean
Yeah,
you
like
have Tua.
the Titans are a perfect example.
right.
What hope do the Titans have? Like, let's say Malik or Will is an okay. He's a decent quarterback. Maybe he's another Tannehill. Let's say it is Tannehill. What and they build a decent roster. What path do
Well,
the
I
Titans
don't.
have for the next 8 years
They
to any sort of
well,
Okay,
contention?
let's
I
not
think
use Tannehill. Let's not use Tannehill as a barometer of the type of quarterback that you have built around a good team. You know what I'm saying? Let's just pick someone that you really think could win, like Jalen Hurts. He's really good, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like guys like this, like Lamar Jackson. He's really good. He's not Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can have gunslingers with
But
super arms
I'd even
like
include
Josh
Mahomes in
Allen.
that. Or, I'd even include Jackson in that 7 or 8. Those
yeah, I
7 or 8
would too.
teams.
I would too. I think since we're talking about the Titans, I think they did the right thing in taking Will Levis. I
Oh,
mean,
sure.
they took a quarterback last year that was supposed to be a developmental long term project, and they said screw that. Maybe
Yeah.
look at what's going on in the AFC. So let's go get Will Levis. We're going to get him in the second round though, right? So I think it's great, but yeah, I think it raises the question for some of these bottom feeder teams that don't have quarterbacks.
Oh, you lose and get Caleb Williams
Yeah,
or Jackson Dart.
hey, let me tell you something. It really puts a lot of pressure on teams like the Raiders because they don't have a franchise quarterback moving
Yeah.
forward, right? So and they're sitting over here instead of stockpiling picks or trying to get assets to go get, one of the top 2 quarterbacks, for next year's draft. They stand pat and they want to win right now. And I think a lot of that has to go with these coaches having to win now, right? Or
Yeah.
these GMs and owners saying we're going to give you a short
You
leash.
can't just say win now. You got to at least look at the landscape. Is there a clear path to winning now?
There's not.
But
And when you're so
that's the
backlogged with good
problem.
quarterbacks in the AFC, you're going to have issues. So I think a team should really be moneyballing it and be like, you know what? I'm going to get rid of the house. I don't care what we have until we get that quarterback because the roster is incomplete until you have that.
But that's what teams do because selling hope and that type of stuff. Like you go, oh, you didn't get nobody. Well, we'll sign this older quarterback and try to win 8 games. And it's like to your point, Chris. No, sometimes you just gotta eat that. Like, what are you gonna do with no quarterback? We're gonna suck, and then we're gonna get the guy that's gonna be good 3 years when your guy's done being good. And that's just how sports work. Like if you really look at guys that are that good, like Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he lost in some of those NFC Championship games, but he was so good. He's always in them. Like he's always in them. Like if you're that good, the guy's gonna be there. So at some point, like you're not gonna beat him. Like you can try every year. Some years he might slip up. Some years he won't. But like he's gonna be there. So you just have to get the guy that's gonna be that guy later. So you're hoping that Will Levis is gonna be the guy in like 3 years that we're talking about. Well, shit, we know Tennessee's gonna make the playoffs and be a powerhouse because they got Will Levis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Texans are hoping this, but that's just what the draft is. Sometimes
So,
your window's not in. You're gonna lose to these guys because they got the better players. You got to play for the next coming years.
yeah. So before we move on and focus specifically on the Cowboys and the Bills drafts, do either one of you guys have any final thoughts on any of the other teams' drafts?
Just that the Eagles are
Yeah.
incredible, man. They, Harry Roseman, he's just damn good. He's good. And I also want to see how Rashee Rice does with the Chiefs.
It's gonna be brilliant.
Howie's getting too much heat. I'm getting jealous.
He's gonna be brilliant. And I think that the Eagles is also, it's like when you look at the way the draft shakes out, the Eagles are just like, look, man, like we're gonna put ourselves in a position every year to draft the best player available. And as long as we do that, no matter what players are in or no matter what positions that are available, will always look like this. And this is why they always look like this. Because they put themselves in a position to where we've traded for draft picks, we've maneuvered around to get these, and our team is already good. So we're just picking the best available, and it's always gonna look dope. And they are just drafting UGA players, but you know what I'm saying? What, 20 years ago, everybody was just drafting Alabama players. What, 10 years ago, it was all Alabama players. So
Sterling,
shout out to the
final thought?
Oklahoma linemen, though. Before we move on, shout out to the Oklahoma linemen in the draft. You already know what I'm talking about. Sterling, you asked me why, and I gave you a list. It's O-line U.
No, I don't have any prevailing thoughts on that. We're good.
All right. So, Russ, this is your podium. This is where you get to run free, and we have to deal with it. Tell us your thoughts on the Cowboys draft.
Actually, I'm a run free, but it's not going to be a very long road. So watching because the Cowboys draft is, if you watch the Cowboys and know what they normally do, the Cowboys draft is basically one of, you're pretty much hoping that they draft a guy that you may like, but you know that the guys they draft are more than likely going to be pretty good. The Mozzie Smith pick is most definitely a great pick. I really love the pick. Was it the guy I wanted? No. Did I yell and scream and holler angrily? No. I was more or less like, that was a very smart pick. I hope that he turns out. My only thing I did say immediately after he got picked, like immediately, the first thing was, I hope he didn't draft Taco 2. I don't think he'll be Taco 2, but as a Cowboys fan, the last guy he drafted from the line in Michigan that was pretty dope was Taco Charlton, and he didn't turn out very well. But I don't think it's the same. I think this is going to be along the lines of how the Ravens back in the day drafted for Ray Lewis behind them, but then Michael Parsons just moved to the defensive end position today. He's going to play on the line because he got to get his money. Got a whole thing I got to talk about that. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Now you got them on the line, and you also are going to have him on the same line as Lawrence. So it's going to be very interesting when this defense gets together in Dallas. Second pick was the only pick that really made me. I'm not going to go through all the picks we made. The pick of the tight end was the only one that really, really, really made me just kind of like say, like, okay, if you're going to not have the guy available that you want, you just pick the tight end, in my opinion. Now, the Cowboys are normally really good at drafting, so if he turns out to be a stud, we can rock with it. But that's pretty much it. I don't really. To me, my focus on the Cowboys in the draft was draft some good players to help the team, but mainly I want to see growth in other places. But I didn't dislike it. I just that
All right.
second pick. Oh, I'm sorry,
Nope.
and I believe it was the third or fourth round pick. The defensive end Facao. I like that pick. That was a good pick for a rusher, especially knowing that Parsons is moving down, so you drafted another guy to come in and that can rush the pass.
All right. Sterling, what's your impartial thoughts on the Cowboys draft?
Here's what I like is that you got Mozzie right into round one, and I think Mozzie's impact won't show up on a stat sheet. What he's going to do is he's going to eat up a lot of the inside stuff. Like, he can two gap, so it's going to free up the linebackers. Like their job's going to be a lot easier. Getting Luke Schoonmaker in the third round, another Michigan guy, he's one of those guys that's smooth under the radar. He's going to do all the right things, right? So, what you might not get an extreme high upside, what he's going to bring is just a consistency, good hands, smart, heady player. We've seen the Cowboys be able to take talent and kind of develop them and stuff like that. They do it really well, actually. So I think they did a really good job there. Who did you guys get in the second round?
No, that was our second round. I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
Luke Schoonmaker was your Luke Schoonmaker was your second round pick.
That's why I didn't like it. And let me look for you. I'm gonna get my camera.
Okay, your third round pick. It was somebody that I liked. I'll find it here. Give me a second. I'll tell you.
Bad. Oh, DeMar Overshown. I did like that Texas
Yes,
pick.
DeMar.
I did like that.
Yes, Overshown. He's I wish the Bills would have taken a look.
Man, now I feel like a hater because I did forget to mention him. And like,
DeMarion Overshown.
DeMarvion. Yeah, DeMarvion. My bad.
Yeah,
I did forget to mention you, but he was a good pick because, he's the only Texas player with talent last year. I'm gonna try to get my shit working. I'll be back, guys.
Yeah. So I like that. I think that he would have been the pick for the Bills if he wasn't selected. Because he was picked right before Dorian Williams was in the third round. So I felt like DeMarvion Overshown would have been the Bills pick at that point.
I'm surprised, as much as Russ talked about him, and maybe this is Russ that got it into my head, that this Darnell Washington tight end fell as far as he did, and that the Cowboys never took a crack at him. Why did he drop so far?
Because I feel like they wanted more of, like, we know that Darnell Washington is a great blocker. He's going to be your traditional, wide tight end in line, right? But I think the Cowboys, they already have a guy that can block, right? They need a dynamic pass catcher, right? And so they felt like Luke Schoonmaker gave you the ability to just come in and play because he's played in a pro style system, right? But there is also a side to where Darnell Washington gives you more upside. So I really do feel like, though, the Cowboys were wanting to get Dalton Kincaid, and that's why the Bills jumped them. Because if you go back to draft night, you saw the Cowboys are kind of flustered when once Kincaid went off the board. They took the entire 10 minutes to make that pick because they knew that they were going to go tight end, and they had to go Mozzie Smith as a consolation prize. That's what I firmly believe about that.
And even if it is true, and it may be true, I think that what you said about Darnell Washington is true, but I think the real reason why they did not pick him is because of that knee. If that knee checked out, they would have picked him.
You think so?
Y'all might have picked him, and we still would have got Dalton Kincaid. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't think that the Cowboys will be hurting from that. I just think that Darnell Washington was a guy, again, I will say, if you watch, what I'm saying, he blocks very well. He's just a specimen that's bigger than everybody, and he's one guy that you can just trust that, like, hey, we're going to throw it up to you, and you can catch it. He played with the best tight end who's going to be one of the top picks in the draft next year because Brock Bowers. He played in the same offensive end with number 2. He blocked right next to the tackle on most of the blocking plays. I think he's going to be really good, man. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad though, because when Dalton Kincaid got picked, I think y'all are going to have to make sure that he's going to have to do some things. I'm just going to say that. I don't think he's a bad pick, but I think he's one of those ones that if y'all don't do exactly what Dalton need to do, Dalton not going to look like he looked at Utah.
So speaking of Dalton Kincaid, Sterling, what's your overall thoughts on the Bills draft?
I like this pick. I like it a lot because I like the player. I'm a little unsure about how they're going to use him, if they're going to use him properly. I don't have a lot of confidence that the Bills are going to use him the way they need to. I do like the player.
Rookies.
I do like the player. I mean, you talk about, one of the top 3 offensive players in his draft. He's one of those top 3 players outside of quarterback, right? So we're talking skill position players, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. He's one of those guys. So what if they use him like they say they're going to use him? It's a great pick because, again, when you have a tight end that's played in these pro style offenses, like, you got to look at Utah. They had 2 tight ends that they ran, a lot of 12 personnel. So the learning curve for a tight end coming to the league takes about 2 to 3 years. Yeah. That is taken away. I think he can come in and play instantly. So we talked about this, Russ, in the pre-draft process, that he's kind of like Travis Kelce in terms of his route running ability and catching the ball. That's what they need. So Brandon Beane, after the draft pick, said that they plan on using him like they used Cole Beasley. So he is a big slot, right? So he doesn't have to do a lot of the wide receiver responsibilities. He's going to find open zones in space. Yeah. And then if you go look at his tape, when he gets the ball in his hands, he had 5.7 yards after each reception at least, right? So that's a really high number for a tight end, and that's really good run after catch. I like the pick, man. I think they finally got Josh Allen a weapon.
I was gonna say, just as a Cowboys fan, as a person on the outside looking in at y'all, like, I reach my go, because y'all know it might just be my football philosophy.
Yeah,
I don't believe the way that you maximize Josh Allen is to try to put a lot of more weapons out there to pass. I believe it's to get him 2 or 3 good weapons to pass to and build a run game around him. And I guess I'm old school, but I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. Because if he is Kelce, like we think he's gonna not, not exactly Kelsey, but if he's
traits
that
of Kelsey.
archetype, if you will, for those that game, if his build is like Kelsey, then he's gonna be devastating. It's just, to me, I think the Bills need more of a, like, we hold the ball more than we score a whole lot really fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Bills would be dope playing like it was the 90s.
The reason I like the pick is because it's basically a freebie as far as I'm concerned. Because the guy I really wanted in the first round was Osiris Torrance. So to get him in the second round and then still have a tight end that everybody else loves, like, all right, I mean, I'll take a swing on it, but to me, the value of Torrance makes it a freebie.
Yeah, Chris, you're right. That he was as you know, I told you, Sterling, when we talked about O linemen, I was like, I love him because he's got that nasty streak in him, and I like linemen that are just like, they look like they're just regular and docile, and then when you say Hut, it's like, oh my God, he's destroying that man in front of him, and he's not stopping. Like, ooh, he's mean about it too. Like, he's not one of those gentle giants. He's one of those fearsome, ferocious giants that will kill you.
Yeah, no, Chris, I love the pick. Russ, I love Osiris Torrance in the second, and the fact that the Bills, it's like having a bunch of 3-point shooters, but now you got a guy that can play defense, right?
Yeah,
that's what Osiris Torrance is. He is a guy on the offensive line that's a little bit different, and he has a niche, and that niche is run. He is a nasty ass run blocker. But he's really good at pass blocking too.
But he's like a guy
he never gave up a sack in his whole college career.
Yeah, and let me tell you this: watching Bills games, you guys know, watching Bills games can be frustrating because they're so finesse. Like, everything outside of Josh Allen is finesse. Yeah. Now you got a dog in there, right? That's gonna hit you in the. He's going to hit you in the mouth. So this is going to come to fruition when the Bills play the Chiefs, right? When you have guys like, their defensive tackle. Right. That's where you're going to see Osiris Torrance shine, when you have these interior defensive linemen. Osiris Torrance should be starting at right guard day one. He should be starting, and it shouldn't even be a question.
So final question for this segment. It's a fan question for Sterling, but it's also an impartial question for Russ. So in your opinion, Sterling, now with the trade complete for Aaron Rodgers and the draft done, has anybody in the AFC moved ahead of the Buffalo Bills coming into the offseason, the season now?
That's a good question. I would say not really. I do like the Jets though, just because that defense is really good, and they got Will McDonald, and Aaron Rodgers is and they got weapons. He got a ton of weapons. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Jets are better than the Bills, but they're damn close. I think they're really close, and I think they have more firepower when Breece Hall is healthy than the Bills do. So it's gonna be interesting. So
that's what we got Russ here for. Is to say.
I know he's gonna hate on it. He's gonna say all these teams are better than the Bills. Go
ahead. I just want to say, y'all talking about the Bills that they're gonna win the division.
Stop the cap.
I'm gonna need you to slow down real quick, because there is a difference in the gangrene game. And I already told y'all sleep on Miami. Miami might come out here and win that division. Miami, only thing that's gonna stop, literally the only thing that's gonna stop. Was I not right last year? We can go get the clip. I was right.
What did the Dolphins do?
I was right. I said exactly what I said. They finished second in the division, I believe. And the only reason they lost,
second again.
Only reason they lost, and only reason they'll finish second this year, if it happens again, probabilities matter, is if Tua gets hurt. If Tua does not get hurt, they are going to win. Didn't they get A-Chain? Didn't they draft A-Chain?
They did get Devin A-Chain.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Kinda. Nah, paper bag. Nah, Boogie. Russ really right.
Okay.
My right is writing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting people know it's my right's writing right now, because no. Let me like there's something that I've been saying, and I've been tweeting it to you, Sterling. I've been trying to say, Chris, for a long time. And the people out there that watch this show, and anybody that watch will be like, oh shit, light bulb. Y'all got two San Franciscos in y'all's division. One of them got an Aaron Rodgers, and one of them got a 99 speed running back that knows how to run that ball. And when I say it, I ain't being like, oh man, I'm saying like A-Chain in that San Francisco style running offense is going to be a problem. And they still have Mostert, and they still have Waddle, and they still have Cheetah. They are still faster than everybody they play.
That's great.
Everybody they play.
Who's blocking? Can you tell me that?
It doesn't matter.
The guys that get their quarterback killed with 2 concussions.
It doesn't. It's not. No, they don't get him killed.
Maybe 3.
He's just snaps his head back and things happen to Tua. And what I'll say to this is, when you tell me that you're running the same kind of offense that the Shanahans run, I don't care who you have up front because it works. It works, and he does need some blue chew for that arm because that should be noodling sometimes. But when he's healthy, they have the top-ranked offense in the league. He can get the ball accurately to playmakers, and the playmakers he has do a lot of damage. So this is not about me saying Tua is the GOAT. This is just about me saying that Miami is the second most dangerous team in that division because you cannot fucking stop them when they're on a roll because they have way too much speed. And football, you can't stop speed.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
But the quarterback stays hurt.
Okay.
But I got y'all finished.
Hold on. Sterling, you get the final thoughts on this before we move on to the either or.
Look, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Mm-hmm. And right now, the Bills are still top dog. And look, I know we're hard on the Bills, and rightfully so. They deserve it. They get the biggest spotlight. But they're still a damn good team. And as long as 17 is that quarterback, they're going to be tough to beat each and every week. They are still one of the top 3 teams in the AFC and in the league. And that's just the way it is. The Bills need to go over the hump, so we'll see what they do.
Right. To me, it's not about 17. It's about everybody else. And if I was walking into the Bills stadium, which everybody does, and the Cincinnati did, no disrespect, and they said, what everybody else going to do? 1-7 gonna do his job. 1-7 gonna dog people. 1-7 can throw it all over the place. What 13 gonna do?
It's all about getting the coach right at this point.
So, God, I'm not gonna see.
Moving on.
Do
a little dance here.
Oh, shit! Oh, Chris! Oh, come on! You can't fuck it up. Chris, wait, no, we're gonna run that back. Oh, I feel like Hitch. Oh, Big 30's disappointed. You gotta rock with it, bro.
I came here all about it. And left me hanging.
When you bust it down like that, I can't give it the product. That's just stepped on, Chris. You got to do it better than that. We can do it again.
Chris was watching the window.
You was throwing your hands in the air, bro. You was doing the wipers. You got to it's to the side. It's pointing.
Hey, I'm playing my role.
Pointing. Put that shit on. Either or. Now I got a dope one for y'all today, and I hope that everybody that had a chance to join. I hope you can text your friends right now. Tell anybody that you can. Send the tweet out. Send the message out. Share it to anybody that you can that loves the game of basketball, because I've been waiting to do it. About 2 weeks ago, I said on this podcast, and I said, shit, y'all told me I was drunk. And I said, shit, I'll take my nigga Steph Curry and LeBron James or Michael Jordan. And y'all said, oh, and now everybody on TV is talking about, is Steph Curry and Mount Rushmore? Is he better than LeBron James? Is he better than Michael Jordan? And so I said, fuck it. Wait, I'm not. That's not the either or. This is the either or. This is the either or of all either or. See, I got to give a build up. This is the either or that's gonna give us. This either or that's gonna give us the content. Right now, while you waiting for the either or to build up and the bubbling these suds up while the cream rises to the top, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Go ahead and that like. Please hit that like, because that like, there's a lot of shit for that algorithm that we need. That algorithm, and I will say Steph Curry or the King, LeBron James. Now, you know how this goes, guys. We do it one way and one way only. I got to give you the criteria. You do not get a team. You do not get a coach. You don't have any other players. You just have this guy, and I have that guy. Or I have that guy, and you have this guy. Who do you want? Steph Curry or LeBron James? And let me go ahead and say this. I have stats on top of stats on top of stats. So if you want Sterling and Chris, I can give the stats first. Or I can let everybody pick.
You know what? I want to hear the stats.
Okay, we're going to start with the stats. We're going to do the stats.
Hold up real quick. Sterling, what's your gut instinct? Do you think there's a large gap between the stats, or do you think they're going to be fairly close?
They're going to be fairly close. But I'm going to go LeBron James.
I feel like they're going to be tilted towards LeBron, because does he have a couple?
No.
There's really no tilting. It's just when you start to look at all of it, it starts to like this. To me, this is a
How many years has each one played?
It's 14 to 20.
Wow.
Do you want to pick?
Steph's been around for 14 years already?
Yeah. 07, 08. 08 was when he was drafted?
Yeah. He was hurt a lot in the beginning, though. Would you like to hear the stats first?
Yeah, hit us.
Okay, so, all right, I feel like I have to tell y'all who I picked before I do the stats.
Please do.
Okay, I have LeBron James. And I will get into why I have LeBron James after. I tried to get the best Steph, pro Steph person I know to come on the program, but he didn't answer me because he lives in a dark cave and he just prays to the man.
Couldn't bring himself to show himself and stand behind.
No. Like, I make jokes about him. I love the guy. He's kind of like Helga and Hey Arnold when it comes to Steph. But his point of why Steph is the greatest basketball player to ever grace the earth is the best one that you will ever hear. So, like, I hope we can get him on again. But, Jay, I love you. You need to come on this bitch. Get out the cave and let the people hear you. They've already heard you argue with KD. Come on here as a Sushi. Pull up the bar stool. So, again, I had LeBron. We'll get into that in a little bit. Y'all remember the criteria. Mm-hmm. So, championships, we know it's 4-4. Seasons, 14 to 20. Playoffs played. It's 9 to 16. That's going to make a little bit of sense a little bit later. Remember, 9 playoff series to 16 playoff series, because some of these stats that came out, they throw them out, and people are like,
wait a minute. 9 years of making the playoffs or 9 series? Those are two different things. He's
made the playoff 9 times out of his 14 years, and LeBron's made the playoffs 16 times out of his 20 years. Again, he's made it 9 times out of 14, and LeBron has made it 16, because there's a stat that's out there that I do think is dope, but I think that they forgot to put into perspective what it means. And it also takes away from what makes LeBron dope as fuck. Because people hate him for some reason. All-Star game, Steph Curry 9, LeBron James 19. That's every year except for 1. Now, honors and awards, season MVP, regular season, we got Steph Curry with 2, LeBron James has 4. Finals MVP, Steph Curry with 1, LeBron James has 4. NBA All-First Team, Steph Curry 4, LeBron James 13. NBA all NBA team total selections, which means not just first team. We got Steph Curry with 8, LeBron James with 18. All defensive team, LeBron James 5. All defensive first team 5. All defensive team 6 times. Scoring leader, Steph Curry has done it twice. LeBron James only done it once. Assist leader, but we know where LeBron James stands as the all-time scorer. Keep that in mind. Steals leader, Steph Curry 1. LeBron James, none. Even though LeBron James is regarded as a better defender, and I do think so. Rookie of the year, LeBron James has 1. Now, this is where it gets a little cool. You know what I'm saying? NBA regular season stats per game. Their best season. There's a lot of these different ones. If you want, we can go over. I'm just gonna go over their field goal percentages. I'm not really gonna do the point totals and all that kind of stuff, because
I think we got it. We got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, percentages wise, field goal percentage 47 for Steph, 50 for LeBron James. I'm going to say this again. 50% field goal percentage for LeBron James. Every other shot that this man has taken in 20 years in the NBA has gone in, basically.
What's her 3-point percentage?
34.5 for LeBron, 42.8 for Steph. But we knew Steph was going to have our Now Steph, on the other hand, has a 90% free throw percentage, but I think it's just fucking ridiculous. LeBron James only has 73. We know he misses free throws. Now, in their best season, Steph had 32 points per game. LeBron James had 31.4. This is really Ryu versus Akuma, if you feel me. If you know, you know. So we got Steph Curry with 6.1 rebounds. LeBron James, of course, he is ahead with 8.6. Assists per game, Steph Curry, the point guard, 8.5. LeBron James, 10.2.
Okay, so who you got, sir? You go first.
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, there you go. Any other stats you need, just let me know. I got playoff stats. I got everything you need. You know what I'm saying? It's a plug over here.
Listen, I'm going to go LeBron, but Steph Curry closes the gap a lot, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how great of a player that he actually is. When you look at field goal percentage, I did not know that LeBron had a 50% field goal percentage, which is amazing. Like, you only see that with people playing the post.
The basketball people.
But LeBron does both. He plays outside and in both. That's just impressive. Steph Curry has a 47% field goal percentage, but you got to understand Steph Curry's volume comes from outside the arc, right?
Facts.
And so it's just impressive. These two guys, I do think Curry belongs in the Mount Rushmore of basketball
I do
because
too.
I think he's the greatest. We know he's the greatest shooter of all time, but he changed the game. Like I think guys who changed the game should be up there in the Mount Rushmore of basketball. And Steph Curry's one of those guys.
I think. Do you want to go real quick, Chris, or do you want?
Yeah. I'm kind of
Yeah, go ahead.
brief on it. So if we're talking pure scorer, I would probably go with Steph Curry, but I think LeBron James is the better all-round basketball player and contributes more on both ends of the court, and you get more with his physical presence than you do with Steph Curry's just lethal shooting. So if I had to pick between the two, I'd go with the all-round player. But if I had to just say who I think is the better pure scorer, I might take Steph.
That's dope. I really do. I like that. Because I feel the same way in a way. Now, this to me hurts because my heart wants me to pick.
Your icky bricky heart?
It wants me to pick Steph. Steph has a 68.3 winning percentage in the playoffs, but he's only been 9 years compared to a guy that's been 16 years, been to the finals 10 times, I believe. Was it 10 times and went 9 times in a row and has a winning percentage of 65.6. You know what I'm saying? And which is only like 1%. Jordan has a 66.5. So while Steph Curry's is amazing. By the way, I just for this tidbit, Isaiah Thomas has a 63.1% win percentage, which is higher than Tim Duncan's 62. But anyways, no, I gotta pick LeBron because it's the all around player. It's the all around player that gets it for me. The size, and to what everybody's saying is like Steph shooting. Yes, it's better. Steph's, you know what I'm saying, presence on the court has changed the game in ways that I think even LeBron James can only dream of. Like he's literally shifted the math of the game. But with all that, with all the guys, we could sit here and name 10 guys that we believe can score better than LeBron James, and some of them ain't even in the Hall of Fame. And like, he still has more points than everybody. He's still gonna have more assists than most everybody. Like, the guy, it doesn't matter. To me, it's gotten to the point where it doesn't matter if you like his game, because I've been quoted as saying, like, I like LeBron, but he ain't really got no bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, watching him operate is just like watching the Hulk beat up people. It's like, oh, well, shit is supposed, but it's
a lot of physical dominance.
But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We love Shaq for the same thing. So why can I hate the version of Shaq that we had that can dribble and that does all these things? Like everybody, we could name a person that we think does everything better than LeBron James. And you know what? He got better stats than him. And to see what he did last week, I don't know. And on top of all this, on top of everything else, I take what type of team you take where it goes. I'm not with the school of this whole like, oh, we're gonna get into the whole like if you go to the finals and lose, like that's bummy shit. Nah, like if you go to the finals and you lose, that's better than losing in the second round. I don't care how you want to cut it, slice it. So like to go to the finals every year and then to come back from 3-1, which I believe is the greatest feat to ever be able to do in the NBA, and to do it in the finals against a team that won 73 games, I cannot not give it to this man. No matter how much you want to, no matter how much you try to, there's too many things that he does. And last night with the playoffs,
We're about to move into the playoffs.
Yeah, as it goes to the playoffs. Yeah, but
put a button on our segment here for us and tell the kids what to do in the comments.
Oh, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Let us know in the comments who you think it is. Let us, you know what I'm saying? Vibe with us. Tell us what you want to know. Or tell us what we want to know. What you think. Shit, we doing this for y'all.
All right. So speaking of the playoffs and moving on to our NBA section, let's just start right out with this matchup in round 2. Sterling, tell us your thoughts on Curry James heads up once again. Who are you picking now that there's a team around them?
Hey, man, I think the Warriors are going to win this series, but I'm really impressed by how the Lakers and Anthony Davis, getting a 30-20 game. That was impressive. Like, that was super impressive what he did last night. I haven't seen that Anthony Davis in a long time. Let's just say that. So, I hope, listen, it don't matter which one of these teams wins. The Nuggets are going to beat them both. Let's just be honest.
Bro, they might. Hey, the Blue Arrows not playing. What, Sterling? You said you lived there, and I said I was riding. What did I say? I said the Nuggets. People been asking me that people that know that Russ. What you think? Some of my homies text me. What y'all think about it? I said, man, not gonna lie, bro. One of my homies been talking about the Nuggets for years. Shout out Chris. You know what I'm saying? Earl C. He been talking about the Nuggets for years. He was like, man, KD should go there. And it's finally blossomed. And I love Jamal Murray. And those who know me know I've been on Jamal Murray since he was at Kentucky. And I'm like, this team is a complete team. And I've said that Joker is going to have to dirk it, but Jamal Murray is way better than Jason Terry. So it is awesome. One more tidbit. In all the games that Steph Curry and LeBron James has played together, LeBron James has had 32, 33 games they played. LeBron James has had better stats in 30 of them. That's it. Points, 30. Rebounds, 39 of them. Assists, 29 of them.
So who are you picking in the series?
Oh, this is why it's hard, because this is not either or. This is the Warriors versus the Lakers. And this is the first time we've really seen old school basketball go against new school basketball, and the fact that, like you said, Anthony Davis is down there playing like Shaq. I am going to say, I don't know if they can keep it up. I'm gonna go Lakers. I'm going to go Lakers. I think them winning that first game matters. I do think that Steph scored 50 a day before it goes. So I didn't expect, you know what I'm saying? If he would have done that again, and it's a lot to do. But there's something to be said about the sheer size of the Lakers. I think we're not really harping on that enough. Like, this team is big.
Yeah, they
like
are.
it's not just that they are defensive savvy, but they are big. It looks like someone went and did a fantasy draft on 2K and just drafted everybody 6'8" and up, and is out there just pressing the analog stick up and putting their hands up and making your layups miss. Because this team is big. They're funneling everything down into Anthony Davis. And like you said, Sterling, shout out to Anthony Davis. We talk shit about him getting hurt, but this is why. Because we know when he is healthy and he is locked in, he's better than everybody else. He can stop everybody and he can score on everybody. And like Shaq says, you got to suck that shit up and be dominant. Like, and he did it. He did it. And I don't think that a team smaller, I don't think that small ball works when a big team is about that life. I think small ball works when you find out that the big team ain't really big. They just big in size. They ain't really dogs out there. I think the Lakers got some dogs, bro. And they ready to run up and down the court and do what it takes. And Austin Reeves is him.
Okay. So Sterling, what do you got on the east side?
Oh man, you know, I'm gonna have to go with. I think it could be the year of the Sixers, man.
Oh, they're getting beat by 30 right now.
Even with the injury?
Even with Embiid?
Right now.
Yeah.
They're getting beat by 30 right now.
God, the Sixers will Sixer.
I mean, here's what I'll say, though. When you said it was the year of the Sixers, I didn't quite disagree, because the Celtics do this. The Celtics lose games they shouldn't, make up for it, and then they'll win the next game, and then they'll lose the other one looking stupid again. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It all depends on what Embiid won the MVPs. So it depends on what they can do. I think Harden got hurt, if I'm not mistaken, or dinged up. So, but it was already getting there. But I don't dislike it. I've said from the beginning, I got to stick with them. I've said Boston. I'm gonna stick with Boston, and I really do think, because this is their quote unquote last dance. Because I do think that Jaylen Brown is going to be a Houston Rocket next year.
Ooh. Yeah, man. I think the playoffs in general have just been good. Like, this is so good, fun basketball to watch. The Knicks are balling, dude. The Knicks are balling. They are good. They are so good, man.
I can't get behind freaking losing your minds in the streets after game 2 and game 3 round 1 wins.
But I can explain that. The Knicks have been so bad for so long, and that's the mecca of basketball. Like,
I'm a Bills fan. I know something about being bad for a long time. You act like you've been there before in round 1. Come on.
It's the self-proclaimed mecca of basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's like giving yourself a nickname. But, you know, I have my things about where basketball is. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes hickory does you good. You know, hickory smoke is right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in French licks, the jump shot came from another place. I'll put it that way. They could be the mecca of basketball, but the jump shot came from Indiana. But nah, in all seriousness, I like the Celtics and I like the Lakers, but I also like in that series. But I think we need to talk about the Knicks series. I think it's going 7. We're just gonna have to wait to see what happens. They're crazy. I let them do what they do. Guys, it's New York. There's so many fucking people there. All the weirdos are gonna be there anyways. But I think we really need to I think we really need to lock in on Denver and how they complete the series with the Suns. Because if Denver basically puts it to me, like I said, he's got a Dirk it. If he goes out here, Joker is he, and sweeps the Suns, that means something. That means what the fuck goes D Rose? You know what? I'm gonna let that slide because I believe every basketball conversation should have a little D Rose in it because it's D Rose. But no, we're talking about teams that's playing right now. But no, I just think that we really need to watch the Nuggets because I think the Nuggets are doing something special, and it's a mountain that has to be climbed with a player like Jokic. I don't think he's going to be like a legacy. Let me not say legacy, but like a back-to-back or three-peat type guy. I think he's one guy that's going to have a very special year, and they get it done. And I think this is the year that they really need to do it. If they don't, LeBron's probably going to get his fifth, and then we're going to be looking crazy out here in these streets.
So as these teams are playing right now, who is your current finals prediction?
Oh, it's Denver and Boston.
I had Denver, Boston to begin, and I will have to stick with Denver and Boston as we continue. Oh, but I will say, we don't talk about the Astros on this program,
especially when Boogie's not here.
No, the Astros. Oh God, so fucking much. All right, let's just continue. The Astros comment just got me all, whatever. D Rose is on the Knicks, but we don't care. We don't care. We love D Rose. He's on the Knicks, but Ghost, leave it alone.
So you guys are still sticking with your predictions that you made at the start?
Yeah, I'm going Denver and Boston. I have to stick with it. Oh, Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's son. I call him Heir to Jays because he's the heir to Jays. Anyways, yeah. So Heir to Jays.
Care to retort on that?
Nah, go with it.
He is. Well, all right, y'all tell me before we end the show and do anything else. Tell me. How is he not? He look like him?
Well, I asked this the other day and nobody had an answer for me. But what's the backstory? Is there some kind of backstory here?
Have you not seen Jimmy Butler's face?
Or is it just that he looks like him?
He looks like Michael Jordan.
Well, no. There is a backstory. So go, Chris. I encourage you. Go to YouTube and Google Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's son, and then watch it, and then take all the information that you get from that. I'm just telling you, take all that and then look at what you're watching now and say, how does Michael Jordan have two sons that suck, right? As far as NBA ball is concerned, he has two sons that couldn't measure up. This random guy from Texas.
The one that he didn't raise and train?
Think about it. It's dope. He's the product. He's Jimmy Snow. He's Jon Snow. He's Jimmy Snow. He's the prodigal son. No, everybody acting like they don't know where he come from. Okay, let's be real, guys. What other guy would do what you saw him do?
Is there any known connection between Jimmy Butler's mom and Michael Jordan?
Yes. You gotta look this shit up. There is. And again, I will ask y'all.
There's smoke here, you're saying.
And there's fire. It is blazing. I will ask y'all, what other NBA player in the history of the fucking league would you expect to do what he did to the Bucks? They were down 16, and this motherfucker went crazy from mid-range and layups, pump fakes.
Ghost says Jordan would play hurt.
And Jimmy is this bro. And what did he do when he scored? He got up and started screaming incessantly at the opposing team. Like, I don't care if you have a giant. I don't care if you're better. I don't care if my right-hand man's hand is broke. I am out here with my bench players and everybody else because I am better. The man was in Minnesota. Quick story time with Big 30. The man was in Minnesota. And I'm sorry, Chris, I got to get this out. In Minnesota, he said, I don't want the starters. I want all the other guys, quote unquote, bums on the team. And then they said after he beat the starters, he said, Cat sucks. All these other guys sucks. You owe me the max. And then he ripped off his shirt and he cut the Minnesota out of his jersey, and it was just nipples and swole chest. That is Michael Jordan's son. Okay. I don't give a fuck. Michael, claim him.
Okay,
claim him.
So this week I'm going to stumble down the Jimmy Butler, Michael Jordan rabbit hole. We're going to go around the room here. Everyone's going to. That's what I'm looking forward to in this sports week ahead. So share what you're looking for from sports this week, and tell us where the folks can find you to harass you.
Yeah, so I'll start off, man. You can find me at stilo.huncho on the TikTok, but also for Sterling on Twitter. I am definitely looking forward to the Denver Nuggets putting an end to CP no rings.
Damn, CP. I knew he was. Bro, Sterling said, you thought I was going to go the whole show? And Sterling popped out the corner of the bricks and said, I'm going to shoot him. Bah! I said, damn. But hey, Chris Paul, yeah, you built a lot of enemies. You can find me on Instagram as Big 30 The Truth. You can find me on Twitter as Big 30 The Truth as well, or RL Climb SP. And the thing I'm looking forward to this next week is I just hope the playoffs continue to go as they go. I hope for no injuries. And go fucking Stars. You know what I'm saying? The Stars really Phoenix Sunsets. That's fucking hilarious. If they do lose, that will be their new name until next playoffs next year. I'm sorry, KD fans. To the KD fans, hey, man, that nigga got to pick it up. Otherwise, you got to deal with that shit. That's just how I go.
All right. Say something inspirational, Russ.
Shit. You know what I'm saying? If she cries on camera, then you can't trust her. That's all. Big 30's got to tell you something the truth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, show no love. Love.